China.
China.
China? Good old China. China's fucked. I literally thought that China would one day completely take over the world in the not so distant future. I thought I'd be teaching my children Chinese Mandarin. Boy, was I wrong. Fuck. Anyway, let's get into it. Can we stop this weird music? You've made 5 videos. We don't need all the cinematic shit. Alright, before we get started, I would like to thank our first sponsor. This is a big deal, our first ever sponsor, Gushi Chinese Chili Oil. Just to be clear, I was given a script for this ad. The company was very clear that I must not deviate from this script. They also provided me with like an editing package and sound effects, and again, yeah, pretty strict guidelines to actually include all this stuff, so let's get into it. Gushi chili oil is China's favourite chili oil, which can be enjoyed alongside almost every meal. Spoon it over fried eggs, pour it over your noodles, or even drizzle it over your salads. Delicious. Gushi chili oil is so delicious that since its conception, major Chinese manufacturing factories such as Foxconn have taken down their suicide nets, as local workers have finally found the real spice in their life. That's kind of sad. Gushi chili oil is void of any nasty artificial additives, much like the artificial and illegitimate government of Taiwan. Jesus. Very political. Is this all really necessary for a chili oil ad? Okay. Gushi chili oil is manufactured using only the purest of ingredients. It's been said to be just as pure as the Han Chinese ethnicity. Fucking hell. Gushi chili oil maintains its purity and homogeneous consistency by using only the best and most modern filtering technology in our factories, removing any nasty or harmful elements such as Chinese defectors or Uyghur Muslims. This is fucked. Alright, I'm glad that that's over. To be honest, I've only just started learning about China, and I know that sounds silly, but I've been somewhat surprised about what I've started to discover. I'm particularly interested in a lot of these common misconceptions. I had a pretty clear vision of China that's been embedded by a lot of, legacy and corporate media discourse, that China will one day take over the world, but the future doesn't look too hot for them. I would even hear a lot of comments about China and just how much of Australia they own, which even looking into, I was surprised to see that there's like a lot of other countries that have way more invested in Australia than China. For instance, on the Australian Government Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade website, they've got which economies invest in Australia the most. Rank 1, United States, 2, United Kingdom, Belgium, Japan, Hong Kong, Singapore, Luxembourg, and then China is number 8. There's a lot more nuance than just one Australian graph, I understand. But I've become a little bit obsessed with a guy named Peter Zeihan, or Zeihan, I think it is, mainly because of his great hair. He's like the Kurt Cobain of geopolitics. He speaks about how China currently has the worst demographics for future growth. Demographics are like the statistics around populations and the characteristics of those populations. He states that by 2030, there'll be more retirees in China than workers. He states by 2050, their whole population will have dropped to somewhere around the area of 700 million people. It's wild. And I guess like the total population of a country kind of means fuck all, but it's mainly got to do with the characteristics of that population and the age groups. As Jordan Peterson would say, the devil's in the details. Peter's got like a really great way of explaining demographics to the simple-minded people like myself. If you don't have enough mature workers, then you don't have enough capital in a country. If you don't have enough younger workers, then you don't have enough consumption. And if you have no children, then you've got no future. So really, I guess to sum it up, he's trying to say that China's screwed. Peter's book is called The End of the World is Just the Beginning, and it's a great read. I can't recommend it enough. I want to play a video from Peter explaining the collapse of China so you can hear it from his own mouth and not from this ugly Australian accent.
In order to maintain your current population, a country needs a birth rate of roughly 2.1 children per woman. With the new data, China is now at 1.16, which is the lowest in their history and the second lowest in human history ever. That's on top of the fact that their biggest cities now have birth rates that are below 0.7. Making it impossible for them to maintain their population at all unless they raid the countryside, and China has been raiding the countryside for the last 40 years, and there are now not a lot of people left to pull in. That means, just from this one statistic, China is already the fastest aging society in human history. And we are looking at the complete dissolution of the Chinese demography in a very short period of time. But we don't even have an economic theory for how an economy might function if this China's data continues on its current path for just another 8 years. So 2030 is probably the use-by date if it doesn't break sooner. And that assumes nothing else goes wrong in the Chinese system. Nothing with agriculture, nothing with trade, nothing with finance, nothing with the Americans, nothing with energy.
Peter's explanations and theories are pretty morbid when it comes down to it. I guess, in a nutshell, he is trying to explain that the good times are coming to an end. I couldn't recommend having a deep dive on this guy enough. I watch his YouTube videos primarily, but I listen to his book. It's available on Amazon or Audible. I'll put a link in the description of this video for his book as well if anyone's interested. He kind of explains that the good days are numbered. Sweet dreams. If you enjoyed this, like the video. Still really don't know what I'm doing with this channel, but I'm having fun. I really enjoy the editing. And the filming's alright as well. Bye.